Okay, so it's like the hottest week of the summer here, right?
Yep.
And the garden is starting to come alive, and we've got to do some major processing. So the kitchen is basically unrecognizable, but we're getting ready to do a lot of things. We have zucchini that we are going to shred and put into freezer bags. And then we have the beginnings of pizza sauce. So these are Roma and purple, what are they called? Atomic grapes. Tomatoes that we've been picking as they've been coming on, but not enough to process. Put them in the freezer. Now we're just putting them into a cooker. We have this many zucchini. And then we have all of these tomatoes. So these we got from a local farmer because we're crazy apparently, but these things are ginormous. So most of these are pink ladies, like this one here, because they have lower acid, and that's what I like. So we'll be using these for salsa, and spaghetti sauce, pizza sauce, and then these are from our garden here. So these are all aromas, and then we have a great white heirloom. This one's not quite ripe yet, but that's an atomic grape. Then we have beets. We got these from a farmer's market because we also have our own beets, which you can get out of the refrigerator. But ours did not get near this big. So we didn't have enough to can. So we went to the farmer's market and got these. These are also from our garden, And those are all cucumbers right there. We've got more cucumbers over there. So things are kind of crazy. We have a big processing day happening here pretty quick.
Well, if I cut myself, I'm not promising I'm not going to house. Okay.
It's just on there.
Chicken bowl.
Okay.
Chicken pigs.
Chicken pig
scraps.
bucket. Yeah, well, this is adding up very quickly.
Nothing goes to waste.
So far we're at 4 pounds of zucchini, and it's just going to keep coming.
What we got there? 5 pounds.
Okay. So it did not take long to get this thing full. Okay, so the zucchini is done, and I have it all put into the bags, so I'm just going to label them. So I would just put 723, and then Zook, and then these will be ready to go into the freezer, and then I will catch up with you once I start the tomatoes. Okay, so I ended up with 8 quart-sized bags, and then there's this one that is just a little bit less than the rest of them, but this is going to be great. Okay, welcome back. So I have gone through the 2 baskets of tomatoes that we had from our garden. These are a mixture of Romas and some atomic grapes, and I believe that there's one pink lady in here. Here she is. One pink lady from our garden. So we are not regulated by the FDA because we are not a farming business. So we are a homestead, but we try to do only organic gardening. So we don't put any fertilizers, any chemicals, any kind of chemical bug intervention, This one I think is gonna have to go to the pigs. But I'm still washing these in a mixture of water and lemon essential oil. So I filled the sink up with water and put 4 drops of lemon essential oil. And I'm just putting these in here to rinse them off and just to make sure there's not any kind of cross-contamination, no dirt or anything like that, because we do have farmers around us. Farmers in our area do utilize crop dusting, and so I don't know if there is any residual chemicals that are blown onto our produce or not. So I just like to do this. All right, so change in plan with the tomatoes. So I washed everything and then weighed everything, and we are at 24 or 25 pounds of tomatoes that are from our garden. I think that this is what I'm going to stick with because I want to use the tomatoes from our garden for like exclusively for one of the sauces. So I was just watching a video from my favorite homesteader, Rachel, at That 1870s Homestead, because when I was looking up the method to peel the Romas, it was you score them like this. Okay, so you score them in an X, and then you put them into boiling water for 10 seconds, and then put that into a water or an ice bath, and then you peel them one by one. Okay, you guys, there's so many. There are so many tomatoes here. It would literally take me, I don't even know what time it is, 12, 14. I would be peeling tomatoes until 3 o'clock. I don't have time for that. So I went back to one of her videos. It is pizza sauce, because that's what we're making. And all she did was core her tomatoes and then put them in, peel and all. And I have followed a couple of her recipes multiple times, and they've always turned out great. So I think that that's what I'm going to do. If what happens when you freeze them is that when you freeze the tomatoes and put them into the roaster, they heat up and then they pop open. And then the peels are just really easy to grab out with the tongs. So I'm assuming that that's what's going to happen here. But we're also going to blend this up with an immersion blender, so you're not going to know that there's peels anyway. And these are pretty tender, so it's not as though it's a big thick tomato. So that's what I'm going to do, and hopefully it's all going to work out. I'm a little cockeyed here, and it's fine, because the tomatoes are currently holding you guys up. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to core the tomatoes with this cute little tool. So this is like a melon baller type thing from Pampered Chef, I believe. And I use this for my strawberries all the time, but it has the little bitty teeth, and you just pop it in and go around in a circle, and then it comes right out. So I'll put those into a bowl, I'll put these into a bowl, and then we'll keep on working our way through. Okay, so here is what I ended up with. So I believe that this is, I think that this is an 18 quart. I'll have to look it up. But this is what we ended up with. So we're about, I don't know, an inch from the top. I think that it needs to be filled all the way to the top. So I am going to have to use some of the tomatoes that we got from the farmer's market. It will be a mix of Brandywine Reds and traditional beef steaks, which that may, if we're using the beef steaks, those are a little bit sweeter, so I may not have to use as much sugar. So this is going to take me a little bit longer to core and slice these up, because you can see that these are heirlooms, so there's quite a bit of pieces that I'm going to have to take off of here, but that's what I'm going to do next. So we've added, or I have added, the Pink Lady tomatoes, and now the cooker is full, so we're just going to let this cook. I've got it set to 300, and it's probably going to just cook all night. All right, so all of the tomatoes are done and in the cooker, and so now I'm moving over to pickling items. So I have a small cabbage from our garden that's already been cut up, and then I have these two that I need to take the outer leaves off of, and then clean those up and just shred them just like this, just super thin slices. And then we are going to make a pickling brine, and we're going to use it for the cabbage and to make some sweet pickles because I have all of these cucumbers. Okay, update. Mark's back, and what are you working on?
Beets. I'm cleaning some beets.
So he's cutting off the leaves, leaving the tails so that they don't bleed too much, and then we're going to put them into a water bath with some lemon essential oil and scrub them really good, because last year we scrubbed them, or he scrubbed them really well, and they did not taste like dirt, which to me, beets taste like dirt, but to you they don't, right? Okay, so here's my progress on the cabbage. So this is a giant bowl, like a giant bowl. I think it's probably, I don't know, it's huge. But anyway, I've got probably 3 or 4 heads of white cabbage and then 1 head of red cabbage, all from our garden. All right, so here's the big cabbage. I think we're going to keep the small cabbage. I think this is probably going to go to the pigs because I just don't trust it. But here's a really nice white cabbage. I just cut it in half, and then here is the core. So you can just cut a V all the way through and then pop the core out, and because you don't want to use that, that'll be terrible. And then just slice these really super thin, almost like a cabbage mix that you would find at the store. And then this should be plenty of cabbage to make pickled cabbage. Okay, so I feel like it's like 8 o'clock at night, and it's only 2 o'clock. So we've done a lot today. So let me give you an update really quick of where we are. So this will give you a little bit of scale. That is my garden spray bottle. It's a bottle of kombucha, so it is 16 ounces, so 2 cups. So you can see how big that bowl is and all the cabbage that we have in there. So moving over to the stove, we have the big water bath canner that we are using for the beets. So here are the 2 biggest beets. Mark is getting ready to put the other ones in. So you cut off the leaves, and then you really have to scrub them to make sure you get all of the dirt off. I would not do that yet. So you got to put the big ones in and let them cook for a while, and then you add the small ones, so like succession cooking. And then over here I have the brine that is going to be used for the pickles, the beets, and the cabbage, and it is equal parts water and vinegar. So I did 8 cups of water, 8 cups of vinegar, and then I did 6 cups of sugar because I don't know, I think that 8 cups of sugar is really a lot. And we use the natural sugar that's not bleached. Right, so here we are. We've got the beets still cooking. The brine is ready. The jars are over there. We've got some jars that are getting sanitized in the microwave. We opened some pickles that we made last season to see if we like the brine. And then this is our 12-cup stainless steel bowl that is heaping with cucumbers. And let me show you guys how many cucumbers I still have left. Oh my goodness. Oh, and ones that we picked yesterday that have not been washed yet. We can definitely grow cucumbers. All right, so here's what the tomatoes look like after about, I don't know, 2 hours? About 2 hours of cooking. So it's gone down quite a bit. You can see that the skins are, like if you wanted to take them off there, you can pretty much pull them off if you want to take them out. But yeah, this should make a good amount of pizza sauce. Okay, dinner is done. It's 4:13. We eat early on Sundays, and so that you can see the beets. These are not all of the beets, but this was a beet from our garden This maybe was a beet from our garden. And then this monstrosity here that is literally the size of my hand or maybe my face, is what we got at the farmer's market. So we are going to be peeling the skins off, which is super easy to do now that they're cooked. So you cook them until they're fork tender, just boil in water until they're fork tender. Pull them out, let them cool till you can handle them, and then the skins slide right off. Then we will chop off the rest of the leaf stems, and then of course pull off all the little tails. You just leave those on while you're cooking, or else your water will be even more purple or red than it is. And then I use gloves. Okay.
You got the brine in there?
Yeah, so we finished peeling and chopping up the beets, which I strongly suggest. Hi. I strongly suggest wearing an apron or clothes that you do not care if they get stained, because they're going to be ruined. And then also gloves, unless you also don't care if your fingers get stained, because they will. So we ended up with how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pints of beets. So now what we're doing is just taking the brine, which is equal parts water, vinegar, and sugar. That makes a super sweet brine, but we took it down. So I did 8 cups of vinegar, 8 cups of water, and 6 cups of sugar. And we are filling these to about a 1/2 inch headspace. There is a measuring tool that comes with the canning supply kit, but I kind of know about where they are. So I'm just going to fill these. We're going to keep filling these, and then we'll come back when we're getting ready to put them in the canner.
Right. I'm just gonna wipe this wipe these down with vinegar and put the lids on.
Okay, so we wiped the rims of all of the lids, and now we're putting the we put the rings on, put the lids on, put the rings on, finger tight, and now we are putting them into the water bath, which we may have to add more water to, because you need to have at least 2 inches of water above your tops of your jars. Okay, so did you wipe this
Yes.
off? Okay,
Yes, I
I'm going to
did.
do it again. I'm just going to show you. Okay, so this has vinegar on it, and we're just going to wipe that off because this is kind of syrupy. And since I just took this lid off, I'm doing it here also. So you put that on, and then put your ring on, and you just do finger tight, not like crazy tight, just like finger tight, like that. So that should be good. Put them into the water. And how many can we fit in here, babe?
Well, looks like a couple more than that.
Okay, so obviously the wide mouth jars are going to take up more space than the small mouth jars, but that's not that big of a deal in this case. We might be able to get those other 2 in there
Well, I hope you do.
because we have more.
Yeah.
We have more things to process. So it looks like we do not need to add any more water. And I think that we might be able to get, oh boy. Let's see if we can get this guy in there. I really want to be able to, but that's a hard no. Okay. So this guy's gonna have to go in with the pickles and the cabbage when we do them. All right, so now what we have to do is we have to wait until this boils, which is just about there. once it's at a rolling boil, then we're going to start the timer for 30 minutes for pickled beets. And then we're gonna go ahead and get our other jars ready and get the cabbage stuffed in and the pickles, or not pickles, but cucumbers stuffed in. And then we'll get moving on those also.
What are you doing now?
Okay. I'm packing cabbage. Okay, so this funnel is also good use for this. It keeps the mess contained a little bit. And we're just gonna put as much of this in here as we can. And you'll think that it's pretty full. And then we're gonna use this neat tool. And it's called a pickle packer. And then you have quite a bit more space than what you think. So this is a handy little guy here. It gives you a little bit of a core workout too. So we're gonna get all of these jars packed. We have 8 here, and then there's still more in the microwave, correct?
Yeah, there's a dozen. We got.
Okay, so there's a dozen of them, and then we're gonna use the same brine on these.
Now, if you don't pack them like she is right now, you'll end up with just a half a jar of.
Yeah, because they do shrink.
Yeah,
So,
we did that the first time.
Yeah. Okay. And you don't have to worry about touching the rims. Like, you can use your fingers. My hands are clean, but you can use your fingers, you know, to push things down or whatever. You don't have to worry about touching this. So the inside of the jars have been microwaved for 5 minutes with water a quarter of the way up. So everything is sanitized and my hands are washed. And then after we put the brine in, then we'll clean the top and the outside of the jar with the vinegar, so you don't have to worry about touching the outside of the jar. So the beets are processing currently, and they go for 30 minutes in the water bath, and then the cabbage goes. Okay, welcome back. Oh my goodness, I've got cucumber on me. Okay, welcome back. It is now 6:19, so we have been at this for probably 7 hours, 8 hours maybe. So let me show you what we've got going on here. So Mark decided that he wanted to do sweet and spicy pickles this time. So we did the one brine, the same brine that we are using for the cabbage, the same brine that we used for the beets, but he went to the garden and pulled a few jalapenos that were ready, and we chopped those up, or he chopped those up and put them in there. And then he also added 1/8 of a teaspoon of red pepper flakes. So the brine is sweet, and then the peppers and the pepper flakes will make it spicy. So they look so pretty, like very, very pretty with the different types of cucumbers and with the peppers. So we are waiting for the cabbage to finish processing. It has to go for 20 minutes. How much time is left?
Oh, Alexa, how much time's on the timer?
You have 4 minutes and 20 seconds left.
4 minutes and 20 seconds. So once that's finished, we will pull the pan off of the heat and then set another timer for 5 minutes, and we'll crack the lid. So we'll just take it off center. Yeah. Oh, are we going to use that one? Oh, okay. Well, I apparently don't know what we have a plan for. So, this is the dish result here. So, craziness. All right. So we are going to use the digital pressure canner to do water bath canning for the ones that won't fit in the water bath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can fit how many?
With this one of these days.
So we have quarts right here for the pickles and 2 pints. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 quarts and 2 pints of the pickles.
There's like 5 quarts fit in here. 7 and a half, 5 in here, I think.
So it should work out. So we're going to try and process them at the same time so that we can be done with it at a decent time tonight. So that's the plan. we'll check in with you when we're taking things out of the canners. Okay, ready?
Ready?
Look how pretty.
Nice.
Okay, welcome back. It is now 7:22 and we are getting ready to can the last 2 jars of pickles, but let me show you what we ended up with for today. Okay, so right here we have the beets, and then here we have the cabbage, and then over here we have the sweet and spicy pickles. So there's 2 spots open for the 2 quarts that we have left to can that didn't fit in the canners. So all in all, I'm going to say that it was a decent day for preserving.
How's these doing? These are cooking down nice.
Oh yeah. And then here are the tomatoes, and I was going to show you guys a trick. Here, you hold this. Hey, it's not like a trick that like everybody knows. I don't know. I just was going through here and stirring things, and as I was stirring, oh, one of them popped. The loose skins are getting caught on the tongs. So
You had
Here,
it
I'll
over
hold it.
there, but
yeah. Oh boy, that's hot. So I kind of was just going through and picking up the skins, but as I was stirring, the skins are just coming out. So it's not a big deal. We leave our skins in on when we do salsa, and they blend up just fine. But some people have talk about stomach sensitivity from tomato skins. So like that's kind of meaty, so I'm just gonna leave that in there. But that did work for me as I was going through, but I did take quite a bit out the last time that I stirred this. So we're just gonna let this cook all night, right?
yep.
And see what happens tomorrow. But hopefully tomorrow I will be able to get this blended and add the seasonings and get it reduced down. Actually, I think I'm gonna let it just cook until we go to bed without the lid on, or with the lid sideways. So yeah. Okay, you can stop it. Right, so it is just after 9 o'clock. I just finished up with my painting of the 3 bowls and sealing 3 bowls. That'll be in a separate video. And now on the stove, a pot of water boiling, an ice bath, and a holding bowl, because I've decided that I would like to turn these tomatoes that we got yesterday, which are very, very, very ripe, into diced tomatoes, which I have never done before. So we'll see how this goes. All right, so I have already been working on the chopping up the peeled tomatoes for the diced tomatoes. So I filled this bowl up, and what I have done is I have added oregano, parsley, and basil into the jars. And those were grown and dried from our garden. And then I'm just filling them up to 1-inch headspace or thereabout. And then we're gonna can these, and then I'll have quarts of diced tomatoes, which is awesome because we use diced tomatoes in lots of different soups and stews, chili especially. And so I'll already have my base ready to go and won't have to go to the store and buy any. So that is really awesome. All right, just a quick update. So this is the state of the pizza sauce tomatoes. Most of the liquid, or a lot of the liquid, has cooked off, and so I think that we are ready to go ahead and use the immersion blender. All right, this is the immersion blender that we got. It's a KitchenAid. I think I got it at Walmart last year, and it works great. So you just have to make sure that you have it submerged and let it do its thing. All right, so it it took a whole couple of minutes, not even that, to do this. So we've gone from the juicy tomatoes to this, and it's cooked down pretty well. So I like to be able to run my spoon across the top and see how the line doesn't like just fully cover itself back up. I can clearly see that line there. So this is just about ready to go. I'm actually going to add a couple of cans of tomato paste just to thicken this up, so that I don't have to let it cook on into the night tonight. Not sure what that is. A couple of dark colored seeds, but I don't like weird stuff in here, so that'll go into the pig bucket. So I'm going to add a little bit of tomato paste to this, probably 3 or 4 of the small jars, and then I'm going to add my pizza seasoning, and then we will be able to jar this up and can it. Very exciting. So yeah, just needs to thicken up just a bit. Alrighty, so I'm back from lunch and I just got the last 3 quarts jarred up here. So I ran out of all of my homemade herbs, so in these last 3 jars I did have to use Italian seasoning from the store, but I ended up with 9 quarts of diced tomatoes. The water is ready. I'm getting ready to add those in, and then I also finished up the pizza sauce. So what I did here is I caramelized about 4 cups of onions, and then added probably 8 really big cloves of garlic. And then I did 4 tablespoons of black pepper, 5 tablespoons of sugar, 6 tablespoons of oregano, 4 tablespoons of basil, 4 teaspoons of rosemary, and 4 teaspoons of salt. And then I tasted it and felt like it needed more Italian seasoning, but I used all of my homemade herbs. So I did have homegrown parsley, so I added that in there. And then I did add some additional Italian seasoning. And so this is looking really good. It's looking thick. You can see there's a nice trace. So I just moved the spoon and see how that's holding its shape. So that's a good thickness, and it kind of plops instead of a steady stream. It like plops when you pour it out. So this is a good thickness. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and let this cook. Let the flavors meld together. Excuse me. So I'm going to put this on 250, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it. But I'm going to have it like cockeyed so that I don't have a lot of condensation happening in there. And then I'm going to get these into the water bath. They have to process for quarts for 45 minutes, I think. I'll double check that and let you know. And then I'm going to start on the dishes. So, oh yes, I'm a mess. So let me check here real quick how long these need to... Okay, so yeah, pints process for 40 minutes. So pint jars of, pint jars of diced tomatoes process for 40 minutes in the water bath, and then quart jars are for 45 minutes. So what I'll do is that you don't start that timer until it actually starts boiling. So I'll go ahead and get the jars in there. I can only do 7 at a time, I believe. So that's going to leave me with 2 additional ones that I have to do on their own. So I'll get those into the water bath, and I'm gonna get the dishwasher unloaded and reloaded, and then by that time I should be able to start going ahead and jarring up the pizza sauce and see how much we have. I pulled out 12, 13, 14, 15. I've pulled out 15 jelly jars, which I believe are half pints. Yep. So, 15. I've got a case and then 3. So that's 15 half pints. And I think we'll need more than that. So we'll see. All right, here we are. It's been 40, 50 minutes since I left you. And let's see what the progress is that we've made. So here are the 7 quarts of the Italian diced tomatoes. So this is normal. I'm sorry I'm out of breath. I just moved that huge cooker. So this is normal for the liquid to kind of go down to the bottom. After these have sat for 24 hours, I'll go ahead and just shake them up and it'll be fine, and it'll disperse all of the herbs into the tomatoes, and they will be ready to put on the shelves. I have the 2 additional quarts in here getting ready to start canning. I've got the pressure canner that I'm going to be using as a water bath canner on the cabinet ready to go, or on the countertop ready to go. I have gotten all of the dishes done. So the dishwasher has been unloaded, reloaded, is running. All of the dishes are done, and so now I'm getting ready to come over here and jar up the pizza sauce. So this is the cooker, and this plus 3 jars is what I have. So I'm thinking that it is going to be, I'm going to need some more jars, but we will work it out. We'll see how it goes. All right, here I am, and I have filled all 15 of the half pint jars with the pizza sauce, and it looks lovely. I currently have 10 of them. Pressure canner that can be doubled as a water bath canner, and it is going. They have to go for 25 minutes, and I still have this much left. So I probably need 2 more cases of the jelly jars to be able to finish that off. So I do have it plugged in, and I have it down on the lowest setting just to keep it warm. The 2 diced tomatoes are processing, and now I just have to wait. So yeah, a little overestimation of how much pizza sauce I'm gonna need. So let me show you the size of jars that we made last year. So we made these size jars last year, and I made 10 of them, and we still have 6 left. So they are a little bit smaller, but a little bit wider. So I still think that's about the same amount of sauce. My husband is kind of a pizza snob, and he doesn't really like homemade pizza. So I'm going to be thinking of lots of different ways to use pizza sauce, because I'm not wasting any of this, and it tastes really good. So I will check in with you once everything is said and done. Okay, these have been sitting here for 24 hours, and we ended up with 27 jars of pizza sauce. That should keep us for a year for sure.